Welcome back to day 117 of our chess journey to 1500 ELO on chess.com. I think we'll just jump in ahead today. First, forgive me for a second here, I just had to adjust so you guys could see the screen properly. Anyways, let's jump ahead into our game and find an opponent. We get Basilis 1940 from Greece. We're playing black today, and we'll have another Sicilian on our hands. Okay, so is it a Najdorf? Looks like we might just see a Najdorf, although it's not certain, of course. Well, now it is. Which variant do we get? There are just so many moves here, it's bizarre. I think at least more than 10, I think. This is honestly quite new to me. It's incredibly aggressive. Let me just evaluate this quickly here. The first move I looked at was this. However, I did not quite love the position that followed here, so I think we'll not play this. This is the fun thing, and also the sometimes frustrating aspect of playing the Najdorf. You can just meet variations you've never seen before, however much you end up playing the opening. I'm actually inclined towards playing this, although this might be a good move as well. Honestly, let's start off with e6, because there might be some annoying stuff here. Yeah, I think this is probably good. We're playing apparently a transposition here into an open Scheveningen Matanovic attack, and now it's a classical variation. Sure thing, I knew that, of course. You know me, I definitely knew that. Not at all, but maybe in some alternative universe. Could we come up here, play like this, and develop in this way? I don't see a compelling reason as to why we wouldn't. This is something I want to play quickly, because I might find it interesting here, trying to apply further pressure to this pawn. Because now it's not easily defended with the pawn here on f4. Yeah, let's play here. It might not be the textbook best move. Maybe in some ways because of a4 being possible. But if a4 is played, we might play for more space. Now the bishop comes up here, opening up some ideas here, a discovered attack, and we might be in some trouble here. This hits this and this. I'm looking at this, but is it a good move or not? I was looking at this here as well, but if takes, then we end up with an isolated pawn. Not ideal. So this and this, here we can come here first, and then probably queen takes, although this could be played as well, opening up this avenue. But let's say queen takes, we could have takes, coming back here and hitting the pawn is probably an okay position. I think we'll come here, This bishop move and remaneuver, I guess, is slightly annoying, but shouldn't be the end of the world. A3, I think, is not too bad. I think A4 worried me a bit more. As A4 seemed kind of annoying to deal with. This, and if this is played, honestly, I think we don't have a whole lot to play for. If the center closes down here and our opponent gets the E5 and the F4 pawns. Now this is an option, but then we take away our coordination with the queen. So how about this and this? But as I mentioned, I did not quite love this. But let me just reevaluate here, or at least take a second look. In this position, our knight is hanging, or it's hit at least. What happens if we jump in? If takes, there might be some way of playing like this with pawns here. In which case, maybe coming out with the bishop here, and that's not necessarily bad. I think we'll have to play this. Well, we might not have to, but I think it's probably a good move. It dodges some threats down here as well, which I didn't quite love. Now takes, or well, it's pushed, so that's that, I guess. Now, I guess we come up. I was just looking now quickly for some discoveries here, in case our queen could get hit. But this, and we take here first. So let's not come back, let's jump in, allowing this. But I don't think that's all that bad. Here it takes and takes, the bishop has to move. It's just, this might not be ideal in some positions, as en passant is playable. I guess we'll just have to see. Now we have quite the nice grasp down here. A little clamp on the position, and at some point this pawn here might become an asset. The C pawn is its only hindrance, but it can't come here, at least not for the time being. Then probably it would have to team up with this pawn. This is played, and honestly, considering it's a kingside castle, I think this is fantastic for us. Because now when takes and takes, the pawns are left, are kind of stranded. The bishop here can't quite get past the pawns on either diagonal. And the rook can't come down here, and a pawn push on the c file can't be supported by a pawn on the b file. So adding all that stuff together, I think we'll go ahead and take. I think this transformation favors us, and there is a target now, which we can come on ahead and hit at some point. But first, I think it's about time we get our development finished. Probably this square. Although here I'm realizing there might be some merit in coming down this diagonal, but not for the time being. First, let's just play and come up in a solid manner. I'm looking at f5 here for our opponent. Might be a good move. I don't know how avoidable it is. Well, we might of course have queen to d7 first here, but then I think our knight kind of gets messed up. We don't necessarily want it here. More likely we want it to come in like this. Is this a move straight off the bat? What happens if this is played? Then takes. And if takes here, I don't think there is a threat down towards our king. We can play like this perhaps. Yeah, honestly, this is going to delay our castling slightly. But I would like to get the knight out. This is likely to be our next move. Although coming down here might be a better long-term plan. We'll see what we end up doing. The king evacuates the diagonal, understandably. Might also be an indication our opponent wants some action down here. This doesn't do a whole lot right now. There is no king there, and if we take the knight on d5, the pawns can get undoubled. Instead, let's play more defensively, or it isn't necessarily defensively. What I mean to say is, let's play a bit further back here, just consider our development and follow our initial plan. So we're both kind of developing here. This is still not played, which I'm happy to see. Could play this to prevent it, but I'm not quite sure right there at least. Now this might be interesting, although in some lines it might be annoying as well. But honestly, this kind of a configuration, steering down here might be good. Maybe not though. I think coming here, hitting the pawn, hitting this pawn, and then castling, doubling up is probably quite nice and solid. How is this pawn defended? Whenever it's pushed, we can take, as long as the bishop doesn't hang and as long as the bishop doesn't hang. We could castle now. I think I'll delay it by one move. Or will I? If we come here, this could be annoying because then we're kind of inviting this move with tempo. Honestly, let's castle. We might hit this pawn with a rook first. Maybe slide down here to the corner with our bishop. So it's protected by a piece, namely the rook. Still not playable. Now we take here, but if this is played, it might signal an intention down here. This, and well, there might be something here. This might be a move. No, it's not. Never mind. Let me have a quick look. Can we now come in here with tempo because of our opponent's last move? We might. Then the queen has to move. It can't come here. Can't come here. And then we can reposition here. Then the pawn can't push, and we hit this pawn. So the queen has to come back, and I think this looks good. And then we can follow up with a rook here, paired together with the knight, and the c-pawn gets quite difficult to defend, I think. Don't quite want to come here. I think this is better. I don't want to be taken now because we want both pawns here to keep those pawns targets indefinitely. If we go here and takes, the pawn might be pushed in some way or another. One way or another or something. Anyways, it would not be to our benefit, I think. So I think honestly from a pawn structure perspective we should be in a fantastic position. It's just a matter of converting it and not blundering something else. As I mentioned, I think this move here is quite good. This is never an option, breaking apart our pawns here and opening up the rook. We kind of have eternal pressure here. The knight can't defend like this, so it would have to come behind here. This bishop, well, it could come here and hold the pawns. But we can still kind of stack up, not infinite pressure, but quite a lot of pressure towards this pawn. Might even have an option here of jumping around and just hitting a lot of stuff. This move, which I did consider to be a move we were going to see at some point, is played. I think we'll allow the capture. So let's say this and this and this. This is a problem and our rook is opened up. It's only a problem here might be if the pawn is pushed. That's not pleasant. Because here we would have to take and our king gets opened up. But if takes and takes, we're up a pawn, could slide on over and maybe play with the rooks here on the g file. That might not be bad. Honestly, a bit difficult to say, but I don't think that's necessarily bad for us. I don't see any concrete way of losing material there, so let's go for this. I think our opponent here will be thrilled with the option of opening up our king, but that might be a mutual threat. Quite the mutual threat there. And I don't think our king is entirely exposed. One thing I didn't see here, importantly, is takes and this falls, so this might in some ways be a pawn blunder, but at the same time we win this pawn, so I guess we're even. I think I'd like to take with the rook though. This pawn here is weak now. Let me evaluate this quickly. Is there something concrete here, or does it just lose material? I think it just loses. Kind of missed the idea there. If we go here, we don't have any good jumps there. Might be able to jump in here now then. And then if takes, this pawn is no longer isolated. And this comes with tempo on the queen. Here, and I guess we would take with the rook. So this does not come as a fork. Yeah, let's take with the knight. 1 second here. Our little envelope up here reflecting the light from my lamp was almost falling down. The position here has gotten a bit more complicated than I wanted it to rather, but I think it's still within acceptable parameters. It's not the end of the world. This would be catastrophic. Would it? Honestly, it might not be. This just looks scary. Well, there would be this and whatnot. Let's not invite those ideas. We'll be taking with the rook. We have to make sure this is defended. This pawn here is hit by the rook. As I mentioned, I do want to jump in here as well. So we have kind of mutual isolated pawns in the center. We might be able to target the e-pawn. Maybe if we come here, we could come up here with the queen, doubling up here and hitting this. This forces our hand, we have to take. And then we have to deal with the attack on the rook. Or do we have to take? We don't. Oh yes, we do, because if we come here, then this first, and we have to take, and then we lose. I was thinking of this, but it doesn't work. So let's take first. This will be played. This will be hanging. How do we play this? Can't come here, here. Could go here actually. But is it too far up? But honestly, this might be playable here. Definitely might. Queen can't come here, can't go here. Could come forwards. Not easy. I think I'd like to come here and hit the queen. And then move the rook. I didn't see a way for the queen here to create a threat, which is why I did this. Otherwise, it might have not been smart, because we do still have a hanging rook, and we don't want to have two hanging pieces or threats against us at the same time. This is hit. This is hit. I think we want to move the queen now. I don't quite know to where, or where to rather, but we'll find out. Maybe this, kind of forking the pawns. I'm a bit afraid of allowing this, but as long as the bishop doesn't control this and the queen doesn't, we should be fine. This is not a move yet, and hopefully won't be. We have to make sure we don't blunder a fork involving our queen at least. Three pawn islands should be good if we get into an endgame. This is played. I realize that this is still defended by the knight. Can we come here now and just take this pawn? Might free up this square for the queen, hitting this and just being quite nice in the middle of our position. I think I like the idea. I don't see a way of hitting the bishop here in a way that's bad for us. Oh, never mind, I forgot about the rook almost. This should be really good. Now the a pawn is hit once again. No, honestly, it doesn't quite work, I think. Here the a-pawn can be pushed. No, I think it works. I think it works. I hope it works. I think it works. Let's say it has to work. This might be our next move. The rook is held by the knight. Well, this is played. Versus this move. This is not a checkmate because of the queen, but it does get scary. We have one move, so let's just play it. Let's just play the move. This bishop here has to go. It definitely has to go. It's constricting us a bit too much. We might have to play this move. We could take this, but I think our king here is in too awkward of a position not to trade off this bishop. Well, this is not good. So honestly, wow, this position is annoying. So let's take here first, maybe. If the queen comes down, this bishop is hanging. This, and we have this, or this even. This and this. Make sure we don't move the queen off of the back rank. Might want to play this move or this, just to give ourselves some space. If the rook moves, we might just find some way here of forcing a trade on the back rank. By forcing the rook back or forcing the bishop back might be a good idea as well. Those pieces here are powerful, to say the least. It's definitely quite annoying playing against them. I would like to get rid of them as quickly as possible. This is a threat, or it could become a threat. But this is defended for the time being. This hangs checkmate. Honestly, let's just avoid hanging checkmate altogether. We'll start off by playing this, giving ourselves the h7 square, although the bishop could come back and start being annoying, or well, keep being annoying rather. I do realize now we had this move as well, which immediately, did it win material or did it just force material off the board? Seems like it forced material off. Now it even won material. Yeah, it won because here this, 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 and we take the bishop. Would have won a piece. I didn't see it. Kind of getting into the time trouble territory once again. I'll keep looking for ideas here if they are available. The option of playing that move might still be their next move. So we're down to 43 seconds. This is quite good. Still, I think I'd like to force some stuff off in a way that should hopefully be advantageous to us. And if this is played, we should be able to come here. And if takes, oh, that's actually not ideal. Oops. Or maybe it works. I think it might work. Because here, this, and this. We could get checked, but we always have the threat here of checkmating ourselves too. Which I think becomes our golden thread. If possible, I do still want to play this. Now it's not playable. I'm having difficulties finding moves here. 13 seconds. You know what? Let's come here, try and get the rook back into the game. Is this a threat? Might force us back here. The bishop and the knight are just quite annoying for our opponent here. Or our opponent's knight and bishop are annoying to us at least. We could have had this move, opening up some stuff here. 13 seconds once again. And let's just play it. We might be looking at bishop to e7 at some point, coming back there. Or hanging the rook in one move. That's definitely an option, although it's not advised. Damn. That's bad. That's horrendously bad. Let's come here first. Didn't quite have the full board vision there. We'll still try to salvage something. We're down 3 points of material. But the pawns here can still be used to get something. Just have to be careful here. Our opponent's pieces have unparalleled activity. This gets annoying. We're almost out of time. We'll have to play quickly. This might be an idea. Trying to create counterplay. Now we have this diagonal in some cases, which could be good. This looks powerful, yes. Here I think we might have to play this to defend this, but then we lose this bishop. Yeah, that's bad. Let's try something of a last-ditch effort here. This is still defended, luckily. This is a checkmate threat, and we don't have a way of parrying it. Well, that's a first mate in one. I don't see a move. So let's resign and say thanks for the game. Our opponent played well towards the end of the game there. Let's jump on ahead and have a look at how we should have played differently. I am eager to learn here. This was a variation I did not know of the Najdorf. This is our lowest accuracy in a long while. 56.7. When we have ups, we always need downs as well. Otherwise, the ups wouldn't be ups after all. Our opponent played with 67.4, so there was a lot of improvement for both of us to be finding. But to be honest, that's just good. It means we have concrete things to learn. This was all normal. This was a blunder. Should have went here, so we didn't lose stuff along the diagonal. Apparently this worked here. I did not see what happened here. Oh, of course, yeah. Yeah, this is bad. I didn't consider the queen replacing the bishop. That's an early blunder. It's just, let's have like 1, 2, 3 moves after hitting the normal Najdorf position. Not ideal. Here we had this, defending the bishop and preventing the previous horrendously bad position. But this was still good. I'm a bit confused here as to why this is better for white. Might have to do with the pawns here, but I thought our plan was maybe a bit more concrete. We had more targets and I liked our position, but it might also have to do with our lackluster development here. This wasn't best. Apparently this was best, because let's say this is played, our opponent loses an active piece, and this, I guess, gets more felt, is how I would evaluate this. Okay, so this wasn't the best either. Apparently, as I did mention, this diagonal did hold some merit. Oh. Let's have a quick look at what happened here. Oh, it's back to normal. Apparently my finger was laying on the touchboard, or the... I can't even remember what it's called in Norwegian or English. The thing you've got on a laptop where you press on it and you move around to move the cursor if you don't have a mouse. Anyways, well, this is weird. That's not what's supposed to happen as you press the arrows. What's happening here? I'm getting really confused. Hopefully it does not keep on going like that. Apparently it does. Yeah, this is just keeping on going. Yeah, anyways, I don't see a way of fixing it, so we'll just have to do with it for the time being. I will try to not jump as much back and forth, so as to prevent it if at all possible. Apparently this was good. Why? Because this, and we would be first back here, after which this was playable, and I guess our position is just killed off and we're strangled. I didn't see it, neither did our opponent. That's quite computerish, I think. sacrificing material to kind of shut down a position over the span of a few moves. This was not best. Oh, this is actually kind of annoying me, the screen jumping back and forth. But I do not see a way of fixing it right now. Trying to play, click and press and whatnot. Yeah, coming to the edge here was apparently bad. Instead, we should have went here. This makes sense though, because this, and now we can take. So we kind of killed off our opponent's idea. We could come here, and this is not bad. Instead, we went here, allowed this move, which I did consider a bit like I did consider it early on, but I kind of forgot about the move until it was played, and it wasn't the best for us. Misevaluated this, thought it was much better for us than it was. Glad to see this was the best move here, and I did not hallucinate. This was okay. Apparently here we should have went back and traded bishops. And this would have been played maybe. What? I would not have played this, but I guess if this is played, we take here. Oh, this apparently lost. How come? Oh yeah, it's just a fork, and if our opponent takes, we have this, which this is a simple tactical pattern I did not spot. We got to this position, blundered. Apparently this was good. This and this, and well, good is relative. This, I would say, is anything but good. And as per usual, the computer is being less than kind by just giving some obscure line over here, sacking the pawn, and then just moving the pieces around for fun. I do not understand why that's okay, or how it works. From this point on, it doesn't seem like we did have any chances. And this here was just the nail in the coffin. They tried to play on a bit here, but our opponent found some good moves. Apparently, we should have went here. If this was played, still mate in 13. Understandably, I guess the position was just that bad. So this move apparently works, because what did our opponent end up playing? Let's say we did play this. What happens here? There is this, this, and this comes with a threat of, well, that's quite annoying actually for our opponent, but still. Yeah, this blunders a stalemate or a repetition, and this blunders the bishop. It's still decisively lost for us, but it might not be over. In this position it was, because our opponent found the best move. There is no way of preventing this mate. So I just want to re-emphasize, well played to our opponent here. Basilis 1940 from Greece. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.